Welcome, it's SVPod. Stanford Steve is here. Red is here. I have a list with, it's a very odd buffet.
Would you call it a family vacation or a family trip?
I had a blast.
That doesn't answer the question.
It was vacation. It was a lot squeezed into a very small window of time.
Yeah.
But a good time was had by all.
In Orlando, Disney, Magic Kingdom.
Shout to the 407. I have not been there in a minute. I mean, we were there last year, but we were more in the mix. Downtown, went to Winter Park.
Church Street.
All right. Orlando, what are you doing at night? You have roads downtown that are blocked off so that teenagers can come party in the streets and then no one can drive anywhere? Figure it out. It was a catastrophe trying to get back downtown where we were staying because the roads are just all blocked everywhere. 2 nights in a row. You guys are having like Fast and the Furious races in the middle of the damn street. And what are we doing?
You got your kids out past 9:30.
We were at Disney, maxing it out, buddy. Stay until the fireworks at Epcot.
Hey, you heard what Baker said.
You want to hoot with the Owls. It's tough to soar with the Eagles. That's what Baker said. He said the AFC. He said, I heard everybody wasn't on time. I don't want to say anything. But we were at the Pro Bowl. That was the work piece.
Mm-hmm.
I think the NFL's done the most they can do with it. The NBA is going to have to try to do something as well because the NBA All-Stars couldn't be bothered to try in a basketball game. So they are like, well, I guess we can't do this. The NFL, I get it. We're not playing tackle football.
Mm-hmm.
We're not risking our bodies for this. And then you don't have to go back too long to see the video of Sean Taylor just obliterating people in Hawaii. But the combination of the skills thing they do on a Thursday, all the folks go out to the parks with their families and significant others. And then I get it. It's a flag football game, but we were both there yesterday. My kids were there. They had a blast watching. The players all seem to be having a fun time. There's a whole lot of laughter and whatever else. I think they've managed to thread the needle with something. It's not serious. It isn't meant to be. But it's a way to honor people that had great years. And look, Team Van Pelt had quite a lot of fun in Orlando.
I couldn't believe how many people showed up. It just shows you how NFL is king, and people are going to have their thoughts
at the stadium.
Yeah,
but you know what? You see the demographic. It's just tons of kids.
Correct, and they hit it. That's the way to do it. Because I'm sitting there saying, who is paying to come to this? Parents with kids. Bingo.
And you see every single team represented.
Everyone.
Although you didn't see many Chiefs jerseys.
Oh, they didn't. No, the Chiefs cheerleader got booed. That's
all you need to. A kid in a Chiefs jersey got booed.
And talking to ticket people, it's only going to be worse in New Orleans. I heard it's all green.
Bang, bang, bird gang.
Oh, I mean, the Eagles chant. I mean, it's already started. We're ready. But they're, so you have the older demo that's like, can't be bothered for a flag football game. I get it. But again, it's
fine.
The kids. And the other thing we have to find a medium is you just can't yell every person's name that's a player during the game while they're sitting on the bench. There'll be a time where they'll come over to sign stuff, but like walking the sidelines, I'm like, people, relax 5 minutes.
It's tough.
And I was really happy to hear that your kids had a great time because I thought it was long. It was hot during, you go out for your show at 1:00, the girls flag football. What a showcase that is for those girls.
They got scheme, bro.
Florida and Georgia running triple option off a reverse. Come on. They ran that. They were unstoppable. But it was hot, man. It was close to 80 degrees, and that's at 1 to 1:30. The guys don't take the field to start the game until 3. That goes till 6. So I was happy that your fam had a good time. Everybody was engaged till the end. I think the events are really, really cool. Was it Pump Perfect, the tug of war? I think the linemen would like to have the tug of war a little earlier so they don't have to sit around. Who was it? Dexter Lawrence and who were playing cards in the first quarter.
Oh, Cam Hayward was playing cards on the AFC sideline. But then when they did the tug of war, they put Big Dex and Vita Vea on the back end. It was just there's no beating that. There's no beating that group. But everyone's having a fun time.
Poor Dexter Lawrence's jersey. I don't know what size you give him.
There's a video of Kelsey interviewing Lawrence. Now, granted, Jason's not in the league anymore, so you like linemen when they come out of the league, they stop eating for 8 people, and the weight comes off. But I'm looking at Kelsey, and it's like, how did you block that, man? He's like, not well. He's like, I'm just so happy I don't have to deal with him. He's so big, and he's not fat. He's just enormous.
It's crazy. Practice Saturday morning.
Oh yeah.
Where all the kids they have the ropes lined up so the kids could get stuff signed and pictures and that whole thing. But all you see is a swarm of people, and the NFC comes out, and then there's Dexter Lawrence above all, like he's riding on a ship in a parade. Like, it's unbelievable how big he is. And like Vita Vea is a man-child. Dexter Lawrence towers over him
and dwarfs him.
Hunt from the Panthers, oh my Lord, what the size of a human being. So it was on the guy's skill is unreal, and it's just cool. When they get there, they're bought in. You saw the competitive nature, and I thought the NFC grabbed a hold of it, and Eli won again.
You asked me, the Houston Texans social media team was there. They said, I describe Nico Collins in one word, and I said, I'll borrow from Stanford Steve.
Enormous human being.
That's 3 words, but one word is enormous.
Good Lord.
A lot of receivers, you think, all right, slot guys, and like Chase is a tank, but he's not. And Jefferson's long and lean, and that to me is the what I picture for being sort of the perfect frame for a wideout, the Justin Jefferson frame.
Oh.
Long strider, huge catch radius, not skinny, lean. Brian Thomas Jr., same exact body type. Then you see Nico Collins, and he looks like a defensive end.
Yeah.
He's just enormous. And it's cool to be able to say hello to folks that, maybe you haven't met, had a chance to visit with Jonnu Smith quickly, a guy that found a home where his skill set fit perfectly with Miami. And for people that maybe haven't been there, it's really cool to see him come. And I give credit to, I think the only guy that came from Buffalo was James Cook. And I give credit, man. I get it. A week ago,
Deion Dawkins was there.
You missed the linemen because they're not out there because it's 7-on-7. But I can understand there's a lot of opt-outs. I get it. But the people that come are definitely having a good time. We're up in the booth. It's Kelsey, myself. It's not meant to be terribly serious. It's a fun afternoon, and so we had fun with that. I'm going to get to the park piece in a minute. I have 2 words, Steve, I'd like your thoughts on. Leg tats.
Should be the motto of Orlando. It's unbelievable.
You mean just out in the Gen Pop?
Gen Pop, and then the players. Players are into the leg tat game. I never got there. I'm sorry. I believe
we've aged out of that demo. If you came home with a leg sleeve, hey, hold on, Dad's got to go get a Viking. There's a Norseman on my leg, and then this side I have like a Ronnie James Dio album cover on my thigh. I mean, I don't know. You pointed it out. I wasn't paying much attention. You're like, what's up with the leg tat game?
Decker for the Lions. Oh,
artwork.
My Lord.
Artwork. And these are big humans.
Yeah.
It's quite a canvas.
It's a lot of ink.
Yeah, a lot of big canvas and a lot of ink.
I will say, I'd like to get your thoughts here, talking to all the players.
Okay.
It did feel like the Lions were in a way better frame of mind than, say, the Bills or the Commanders. Having an extra week.
Another week to let the dust settle. No question.
And Frank Ragnow, great friend, came over, and he's just shaking his head. He's like, I honestly thought this was going to be the year. And I said, Frank, I was with you. I called you guys the best watch all year. I said, but I just keep seeing the subtractions from the deal. And he's like, exactly. He's like, we had to play mistake-free. We knew we were going to have to, and they couldn't do it. But just to see another 7 days removed as to James Cook, I mean, Deion Dawkins is a crowd favorite. So, but Bobby Wagner shows up for the Commanders. Yeah. Hopefully, get him in studio this week.
That'd be fun.
Chat some Super Bowl down in the district. So, again, the NFL wins. It's amazing.
Yep, and you see virtually every fan base or every team, I should say, represented by the fans. Ton of kids, like I said, mine included. Thanks to really, it was on our ops crew. Were incredibly kind and helpful to get him sort of out there and involved as best we could. Pretty tight. It's pretty tight out there. Pretty strict.
Shield, man. You don't mess with the shield.
Yeah, it was.
You know those areas they rope off.
That's where you're supposed to be.
Respect them.
Okay. We're not trying to cause any problem here. It does seem to be just a little flag game out here. We're not going to cause anybody any problems, but we'll
one
go.
Little blonde-haired guy found his way on the other side of the ropes for a picture. I noticed.
Little guy.
Was
he wearing a Commander's jersey?
Oh yeah. Wonder where he got that from.
I tell my kids, you got to walk confidently. You got to make somebody stop you. That's half a life. In my case, it's probably all my life. You just keep going until somebody tells you to get the hell out of Dodge. Went to Disney on Saturday, Steve.
You did?
I sure did. And what a time. Magic Kingdom. It's an amazing place. And the people, I mean, there are folks that love that with their whole heart. And they're in. Matching stuff, shirts, this and that. Like, this is what they do. We've been some, and we have kids that are really in many ways in the sweet spot. Like, perfect age, because they're old enough where they can carry their own shit. They can keep up.
Yeah.
You're not going to lose somebody. They're not going to pass out. You don't have to push them around in a stroller. They're all in charge of them. They're all also old enough to ride all the rides and have a blast. And so we were with a close family of friends from our area and their kids. And the wife is like a Disney expert. She understands like the layout of the park.
Savant.
Yes, a savant. And understands sort of, if you're here, we can get there. It's amazing. Mapped it out, helped us sort of understand the way to max out the park experience.
This was not her first time there.
It was not. And we also, look, just hand up here, we also had Michael, who was helping us on a tour. Now, look, it ain't cheap, but if you're there for a day, it's worth every cent you're spending, because you add a Disney savant plus our guy Michael, and you can max out where you're going to get to see stuff, ride rides, do the bit.
Is Michael dressed up?
What, like a character?
Yeah.
No, he's dressed up as a Disney guide.
All right.
And they're amazing. Again, if you're going to do it and you can do it, and you're thinking, should I? If you can, I'm telling you, it's worth it, because you're going to max out your ability to enjoy the park.
You're going to max out your account, too.
Again, it's for the kids, Steve. Why do we do what we do?
For the kids.
For the kids. They were riding all the rides. This one and that one. They all. Dad comes after practice. I'm here to work. I'm here to do the Pro Bowl. We go to practice. And again, it's really cool to be able to spend a little time, say your hellos to people that you know, reacquaint, see Big Frank Ragnow, who I admire so much. That guy's battled through. He's an absolute warrior, fights through injuries, plays. Like I said, meet the people maybe that you haven't had a chance to introduce yourself to. And I believe in being there, just like, hey, maybe, like if you said some shit that people, like, you want to be, hey, what was that about, whatever. Like, I like to be present for that, like, just in case. It hasn't happened, but it might.
Mm-hmm.
So the practice is valuable on a lot of different levels. Dad's going to go catch up late. When I get there, I explain, look, I'm along for the ride. I'm not here for the rides. It's not my strength. I don't like roller coasters. Where are you on roller coasters, Steve?
Fine.
But fine's different than like 1 to 10. 1, no thank you. 10, love them. Where are you 1 to 10?
8.
See, that's more than fine. That's like you like them.
I do, as long. The height thing has bothered me as I've gotten older. So like the old Cyclone at Riverside, for the people in the Northeast. What's up? Not sure I could get, that whole tick, 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 tick going. Like, those are done. But like speed, light, dark, lights, music, flash, lights flashing. Yep. I'm good.
Okay. You're 8. I'm 0, Steve. Hate him. Now, I got a picture of me on the
Bloom?
No. Well, we rode that one. That was a good one. That's a new one, Tiana's thing. That's a good fun one.
You get wet?
Kinda, not terrible. But I got a picture on the Dwarfs one. That's about my speed.
Aren't you too tall for that?
No, I knew right where the camera was. There it is. Tiana's Bayou Adventure.
Oh.
Double hand up. I'm good on that one. And then the Seven Dwarfs coaster. What's that one called? There it is. Mine Train. I'll send a picture. You guys can, if you care to put it up. It's just I know right where the camera is, and I'm stunting on this one because I'm good.
Your speed.
That's it.
Then
that's it. I'm good. I'm safe. Shout out to Chris Long. There's talk about the Guardians of the Galaxy. And that sounds like something that's far beyond my capacity to do.
They take pictures on that one?
There is a picture.
Oh, that's the one.
Yeah.
You know, you send us ones from the kiddie toys, but you didn't send us one from the big boy.
I sure didn't. My wife, we'll get to that. And the Guardians of the Galaxy, there's a long list of people, and you're on the list, Jared Goff. We were at practice. I had joked with Jared before the week, like, hey, are you coming? Because, some guys don't show up, and I get it. The way their season ended, if it was just like, I got a wrist. I understand. No, I'm going to be there. I said, oh, great. Hey, we're going to come to the kids. You want to go to the parks? Have a good time? So we joked with him when we saw him at practice. He's like, oh, I went yesterday. Yeah, how'd it go? He goes, oh, I rode Guardians of the Galaxy. He said, I'm not a roller coaster guy. But you were standing there when we talked about it. The way he described it, it was like it was fine. He wasn't glowing, but
he didn't give us the real review. He just wanted you to suffer like he did. I could tell.
He made it sound like it would be all right. We have a legendary field producer by the name of Eric Lunston. We go back decades.
Loaf.
Some call him Loaf. I call him Fudgy. That's a whole other story. It goes back to the Open Championship. There you go, Fudgy. He said, oh, man, Guardians of the Galaxy. He went with Sutcliffe, by the way, from Deportes, who's a maniac. And he's like, oh, man, it's kind of groovy. And he's doing like this. I'm like, groovy? Groovy. Okay, groovy. There's music. Okay. Goff, Lunston, list. Big Brian O'Neill from the Vikings. Sam Darnold, list. You're on it. Because the fam goes on, and I'm waiting by a door. And I'm like, I get right up to the line. I'm like, not me. Can't do it.
Won't.
Not going to be able to do it. Went, stood by the door, waited. Here comes O'Neill and Darnold. And O'Neill, Delaware guy, starboard guy. And he's a giant man. And he's like bounding out, like waving his hand. He's jumping around. I'm like, O'Neill. He's like, did you ride it? I said, no. He's like, you got to ride it. It's awesome. Darnold's like, man, it's great. I'm like, I don't know. I don't. Like, yeah, you got it. You're on the list.
Peer pressure. You gave in.
As they're walking, as they're walking up the stairs, it's like a movie. It's all been planned. My family comes out the door. Everyone's beaming. Can we go again? Can we go again? And at this moment, I'm thinking, yeah, I'll go. Because I'm feeling all the joy of the fam. I'm seeing the excitement of everybody. Goff says it's fine. Lunston said it's groovy. The Vikings guys that's great. All right, let's go. I tell our guy, Michael, I'm in. As we start to walk out the door, they're dragging a man who clearly had a medical episode on this thing. Looks like I think he's okay, but he does not look to be happy. That's the last thing I see, but I'm like, all right. I'm filled with more positivity than this, but that's the last visual I get. Walk around the corner, see the legend, Steve Smith, with his family. Receiver. He's like, are you going? I was like, I don't know. I think I said, you got to go. It's great. I told him what I told you at the Atlanta airport. I said, if I go on this and I hate it, I'm going to punch you in the head. And he goes, I'll punch you back. I said, I know, but I'm going to make the one count. But I'm going. Steve Smith, Ice up, son. You're on the list. I see his family later. His son comes up. He's like, did you go? I said, yeah. Tell your dad I'm going to punch him in the head. Because I go and I get on this ride. And if you don't like roller coasters, don't let people lie to you and tell you the Guardians of the Galaxy is groovy. It's pitch black. It's 60 miles an hour. Oh, there's music. Who gives a fuck? I'm going sideways and there's no light and I don't know what's happening. And I'm just going, oh boy. My wife is sitting next to me, hyperventilating, laughing at me. She's like this, but worse. Because she's like, she explained to me this morning, she's like, I just couldn't believe you did it. And as I'm walking to go get in the seats, the only person who in my family that truly loves me is my daughter, who says, Dad, don't do it. She knew. She knew. She tried to save Pop. Everybody else is on the list because you let me do this and you coerced me into getting on it. I'm a 0 on liking roller coasters. And if you're part of our crew, it's okay. You're along for the ride, not here for the rides. It's okay. But I rode it about halfway through. I'm like, I might puke. But I hadn't eaten much, so that was a good thing. And then I heard Everybody Wants to Rule the World, which I like. And then we come to a sort of seems like a stopping point. And my son, who's sitting in front, turns around with a big smile on his face. He's like, Dad, did you like it? And I said, no. But I feel like the lesson in all this is, A, all these people I said are on the list, they sit on a throne of lies. But B, you got to confront your fears. And I proved to myself I could do it. Show your kids to tackle mountains, take on challenges, something. But then I don't feel like I gave them the best. You'll be okay when it was over because I was shaking.
Couple things.
But please.
You got peer pressured.
1,000%.
No one got hurt. Your wife has a memory she'll never forget and love every single day and probably bring it up every single day. And you sacrifice for the family. That's love.
It's love, everybody. That's what love is. I want to know what love is. Well, it's riding the Guardians of the Galaxy. That's what love is.
Did it go backwards?
Of course it went backwards.
Oh. Were you in the
fast as hell, just backwards through the dark? I'm like, all right.
This
is what we're gonna do.
Were you in the front of the backwards or in the?
That's a good question. I honestly don't know because I was so. It was happening at too fast. It was like being on drugs.
Hey,
I would guess. The last thing I saw was the guy having a medical episode. Now I'm sitting in the dark. Now I'm going backwards. Now I'm like, now if we go back, we're going to go forwards. But then the forwards turn sideways. And then there's this. And
grooving.
It's groovy. Groovy. People have different definitions of groovy than I do.
You did it.
Nah. The people that love it are like, shut up, get on the coaster. And the people that don't like it are like, I'm not getting on that thing. But there was music. It was just, it's dark. It's dark. If I can see what's coming, I can kind of gear up for it. All these like stars that were like, I don't know. All those people on the list. Ice up, son.
You're fine.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else from Orlando. Do we shout out Bar Italia yet?
Oh, no. That place was great. Zanzi.
Winter Park. Get there. Bar Italia.
Mm-hmm.
Delish.
Almost went back there the second night. Had a res for after the Duke game, but then Crest, the steakhouse down the street. Phenomenal.
Okay.
TVs in the bar area with tables. Why doesn't every restaurant have that?
Well, and then in the Florida spaces, you can do the outdoor indoor, and then it's just everything's just groovy. That's groovy.
Oh,
Bar Italian Winter Park is groovy.
Never want to leave. Could have sat there all night,
and you did.
Sort of.
How many Tito's we put down?
Oh, we were margaritas there. They were good.
Margaritas in Italian.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Margaritas go with anything.
There you go.
Need the salt.
the salty and the sweet. We'll get to the Duke piece in a minute. It was a great college basketball weekend.
Oh,
insanity.
I went
all
back
over.
and watched Houston, Texas Tech last night when I got home.
Game
of the year.
Yeah, and there was a lot that went into it. McCaslin got kicked out early, and then
lost his mind.
Big shots made across the board. I think Houston can win the title. I was on the field of 68 the other night with Goodman and them, and he brought up like who could win, and he said, "Who are we forgetting?" I'm like, Houston. I don't know how you sleep on Houston, but Texas Tech went in there and won.
Hottest team in the conference, and that conference is flipped upside down in the last week.
It has. We're on tonight after Iowa State, Kansas. All of a sudden, these are two teams that feel like they both could kind of use a win. Not kind of. They could use a win.
They need it.
Like literally. Not for the tournament, obviously, but just
Kansas at home is going to lose at home again.
And they got some odd things haven't worked out. Got Storr from Wisconsin, thought that was going to be a steal, and I don't know. I don't know what's happening.
There's a lot of trust there.
Yeah, that's been a tough one. But I want to couch the college basketball just because I wake up on Sunday and Saturday after the emotional torture of the roller coaster. I'm kidding. It was a late night. Stayed for the fireworks. Epcot, beautiful. I get emotional.
Love fireworks.
And it was just a perfect family scene. Like my daughter, unsolicited, comes, gives me a big hug, thank me for this. My one of my little guys kind of falling asleep on me. Like a lot of hugs. You get every fireworks thing that they do is like it's not just fireworks. It's like the galaxy opens its arms to you and takes you. Like it's you know what I mean. The messaging is always this incredibly moving, powerful.
They do
stuff.
that every night. There,
every night.
That's amazing.
You know what? They got the cash.
Oh.
I look around from time to time and I can't imagine just what's the number associated with every single person here.
Every day.
That's why the fireworks, we're good. We're good. It's like Vegas. The buffet's free. Buffet's free. You're going to buy the hotel. So we get home. It's an early to bed scenario there for everybody. So I miss what happens late night, which included a great St. Mary's Gonzaga game. And was it Moraga?
Moraga.
Not near, what's the cow place?
Kalinga. No.
Shout to Kalinga. I miss all of the late night stuff, including, which seems like you're getting punked on your own timeline, Luka to the Lakers. Now, we're late to this. I saw Russillo and the emergency pod with Simmons. He's just apoplectic, as is everyone. It's just an odd, beyond odd, what is this deal where you move a 25-year-old for a star? Anthony Davis is a star, okay? People talk about him like he's not a star. He's a star. Injury prone, yeah, he gets injured some. Luka's got a calf and weighs who knows what at the moment. But Anthony Davis' ceiling's really high. Did Dallas need that piece? I didn't think so necessarily. But they act like you got nothing. But the Lakers had more picks to give. What's the guy's name? Nico? Is it Harrison?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're a GM. He holds a press conference where he's talking, and the whole thing feels like a skit. Pelinka thought he was joking. And no one can make sense of any of this, including me. And I mean, does this interest you as much as the conversation has carried the sort of sports talk over the last 48 hours?
What interests me is all the reaction.
Okay.
And I'm a guy, I don't like surprises. And people say they like surprises, and they're lying. Because everyone was losing their mind because all the access we have to everything in the world right now with social media, we know everything.
That's a great point.
And everybody was just irate because they had no idea. And for the idea that the guy that breaks the news has to send out "this is real" on his tweet is just what this league has turned into. It's what they love. It's this thing. But that fact that nobody knew it was coming drives people up a wall. How didn't we know about this? Are they kidding? So then it's going to be like, second question to, who was the, maybe Perk, was who won the trade? I'm like, oh my Lord. I'm like, how about how Davis fits in with the two centers in Dallas, or how Luka and who's going to handle the ball? What happens to Austin Reeves, who's had an awesome year? So to me, I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, Luka hasn't played since Christmas. And not once has that been brought up.
Oh, it's been brought up because it's
not in the immediacy. Because I'm saying, Sean Farnham breaks it on the game broadcast. Dave Fleming saying, "Boy, I don't want to be a producer or a host on SportsCenter tonight because that rundown's getting flipped upside down."
Yep.
And to me, it comes down to one thing: they absolutely despise still having to deal with Luka.
Dallas,
and they love Anthony Davis. Yeah, that's what it comes down. And I get it. The whole. Marcillo's number one thing. Why didn't you shop him around?
Well, that's the thing.
That's what it is. They didn't want to. They wanted Anthony Davis. They didn't want it to be this whole thing. And there's people out there saying, wait till the end of the year. But you could tell they were tired of having to deal with him. We've talked ad nauseum how hard he is to watch during the games because all he does at the referees. Windhorst goes on with blowtorch in the game last year.
On our show with us,
yeah.
Right? That's where the winners are.
Yeah.
I mean, that scorched earth Windhorst thing was something that was brought up quite a bit afterwards about this guy. I get it. Somebody needs to put the tape together. We've said this for years, and just show it to him and say, you got to stop acting like this.
I'm sure they have.
I agree with that. It's what I always say, you've got to have someone in your life that can call you on your bullshit. I have two people, my wife and him. We'll get to something you told me last week. Don't let me forget.
Mm-hmm.
It's one word. Actually, two words. But someone that'll point out to you your blind spots, your weaknesses, that you work on them and get better at them. But I think when you're on a short list of the most talented at what you do, what do they always say? Your talents have to outweigh your problems. Your talents have to be greater than your problems. And his were until I guess they weren't. And you want to move him? Is he not in shape? Everyone's waiting to find out what happened. I don't know that there's some epiphany that's coming on this. You just explained it. They wanted to move him. I would just say organizationally, to move him without finding out what the most you could get seems like organizational malpractice because it's your job to get the most you can for a generational talent. And again, I think people act like Anthony Davis is some bum when they compare him to what you're getting back. But the Lakers had more picks that they didn't give. I don't know, did Dallas ask for them? I mean, you could have asked for whatever, I presume, and gotten it. But the Lakers get a 25-year-old guy who, whatever his ceiling is, he's top something in the league, and it ain't 10. It's higher than that. So I just try to figure out what is it going to be in Dallas, in Los Angeles for him. Does this, clearly the amount of runway that LeBron's got left is limited. So you're pivoting off that. This guy becomes the future of who you are. But Windhorst, how much did they hate him in Dallas?
That's all I think of.
Whew. Hate?
I mean, in that run.
I got you to the finals.
And then what happened in the finals?
Well, they played a Boston team who stood, from an analytical standpoint, was just an absolute road grader.
Yep. But the problems on the defensive end were when he got that foul in that game, when Windhorst lost his mind.
Yeah, I understand.
That was atrocious. You can't do that.
I understand.
But to me, it just comes down to the feelings. And I thought Nico was great when he's like, I'm not going to be here in 10 years for that draft pick.
That's
that
much is true.
So
that much is true.
He's sort of already carved his road.
I guess.
I didn't know there was that many Mavs fans, but they're making their voice heard. So, again,
25-year-old guy that was in the finals a year ago. And I don't know. You make the great point that I hadn't even really considered. Just when things, when Jimmy Butler gets traded, it'll be the end of a story we knew was happening. De'Aaron Fox, you had an idea that might happen. That's a gigantic trade as well. He lands in San Antonio. You end up getting Zach LaVine as a star in Sacramento. Kevin Huerter, shout out Red Velvet, ends up in Chicago, among others that were in that trade. You had an idea that was coming. It was clear that was a possibility. But Luka getting moved, and there's always something some receipt on the internet. It was wild to see Davis for Doncic or whatever. Like a month ago, some fan would tweeted it out, and then some Maverick fan said this wouldn't happen in a million years, and that was everyone's reaction. It was a stunning thing that had happened. I don't think either team is winning a championship this year anyway, so I don't know that it's other than being what the NBA traffic's mostly in, which is conversation, social media fuel. There's all that, but are either one of these championship teams this year?
They could get to the conference finals, so yeah, I think they could be.
Okay.
No one's that good.
You don't think the Thunder are that good? I do.
I want to see it.
Okay.
They're at the point, sort of like the Celtics were, before they got to the finals. I look at the finals. Getting to the finals is a huge achievement. That's why I hold LeBron in such a high level, because of all the years he made it consecutively with the Cavs, and people could pick apart the Eastern. I don't care. The fact that he did that. I did watch the Milwaukee Bucks last night.
Uh-huh.
Wow, are they tough to watch?
What don't you enjoy?
I don't understand how there are guys that size and just could care less about rebounding. Rebounding is just like guys just don't even go inside the paint. And I think it's a tough watch. But they, I go back to that trade with Drew Holiday. I thought he was a guy that gave them some oomph when they won the title, but they don't have. I thought I would see a lot more. Now I know it's a one-off. They blew a lead in the fourth quarter, but if that's one of the top teams in the league, I'm not scared of them at all.
I mean, they're middle of the pack in the East at the moment. Cleveland's record-wise is amazing. I think that's a team that people will probably say they want to see it in the spring, which isn't unfair. But I think their record against top-end teams is awfully good, Cleveland's.
Yeah, but no one knows that because we don't talk about it. Two stories of the first half of the season are Jimmy Butler and now the Luka trade. These teams have played almost 50 games.
49 for Cleveland.
You know who could win 2 in a row tonight?
Who?
The Wizards.
This man had the audacity on this podcast last week to say they play hard.
They'll be on the TV tonight when we get to work. Don't worry. We're at Charlotte going for 2 in a row.
The man just used the term we.
I'm in.
It's clear.
I am in.
We could go back to the Rosillo days of Wizards Daily with Young and Wild and
God,
Free
if
playing.
we could ever pull up that audio.
Those segments were so much fun.
Oh.
For those that the real ones know.
Yeah.
But for those that weren't part of it, just you had Swaggy P.
Andre Blatch. It was at the beginning of Twitter, too. And he would tweet, like, back in the club after another loss. It's 3 a.m.
It's fine. They had Andre Blatch. They had Nick Young.
John Wall was first or second year.
Yeah, that was a collection of people. Wait a minute. What year was that?
Oh.
Was it 2011 Wizards?
What year was Wall? 10? Yeah.
It just
11 draft, maybe.
You could talk amongst yourselves for a moment. I just want to remember just how many folks they had. Andre Blatch, what's up? Jordan Crawford, team gets mine, led the world in shots. JaVale McGee, who I like to say drives a spaceship to work. I love it. He's just a different sort of a cat. Jan Vesely. Yep. This dude gets here from the Czech Republic. He's got to be looking around going, is this what this is? There would be highlights on a nightly basis of just mayhem in all directions. That team was way better than this team. What?
No, we got a lot of games left.
They've won 7 games.
Yep. Hopefully 8.
Okay. We're in Charlotte tonight.
Yep.
Shout to Jimmy Patsos, who we texted as we watched them losing by 100.
They're not a first quarter team.
100
That's the issue.
Against the Mavs.
Without Luka or Anthony Davis.
Yeah, they are very good. That night. I'm sure everybody's optimistic about who they could be moving forward. All right, Wizards go for 8 tonight. That's big. That's your Wizards Daily Update.
Mm-hmm.
I love the Fox to San Antonio trade. I still think San Antonio is. It's not now. It's. But Wembanyama does stuff more regularly nightly that just doesn't make any sense.
It's awesome. I think he's the best watch in the league. He's a must watch in the league. When you're talking about, if you're a Celtics fan, I get it. It's turned into this local thing and two monster markets being involved with the Lakers and Mavs trade. But night in, night out, if you have the NBA package and you're not watching Wemby, I don't know what you're doing. I
think everybody does.
Incredible what he does.
I think everybody does.
And to see it, like I remember having Windhorst on before he got drafted. He's the first person I've ever seen be able to defend the corner three and get back and block a shot at the rim. And to see him say that and then see him do it is just nuts.
Well, the guy that put us on Wembanyama 10 years ago is Schmidt.
Oh, yeah.
Schmitzy's in a front office somewhere, isn't he?
Blazers.
That's awesome. The college basketball weekend.
That's the other thing I was upset about. We had the best day of the season on Saturday.
Yeah.
And then, Sports Center the next day, nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. It's just NBA trade of Luka. And I get it. People were in bed.
Yeah, but
the window, we can't show a couple highlights. We had 2 29 home game winning streaks snapped. Kansas State went to Iowa State.
And won by a lot. And Kansas State's had a horrendous year, spent all this money on Hawkins and Doug, and it's like you thought they'd be good. They've been awful, and they go out to – they don't lose like that. Iowa State doesn't lose like that to anybody, much less in Hilton.
Yeah.
They got drummed by Kansas State. That
Kansas
was a
State
stunner.
Won 3 in a row. They were up 19, then they cut – Iowa State got it down to 6. And you're like, here we go, Hilton Magic. But no, Kansas State, McDaniel was great. That's the best game he's played by far for Kansas State. And then the biggest story to me is Cal going and winning at Kentucky. I mean, you talk about a fan base that thing was like a movie before the game. Him walking in, the cameras, the way they had it was like there's going to be a trophy celebration. And he's shaking his hands and saying hi to the old Kentucky alums on the court. And then here comes Pope and this roar of Rupp. And it's like, this is going to be awesome. I can't wait to watch this game. And the first half was incredible. Shot making. Nelly Davis hadn't looked like that in an Arkansas uniform. DJ Wagner played the best game that he's played, I think, in college. He never did that at Kentucky.
No, he was way more sort of 5-star rep than reality. And that happens to a lot of guys that come out with more of a reputation than a resume. I shouldn't say it that way. It's just you got to make a resume in college, and he hadn't really. And I didn't see a lot of this because I was at Disney trying to shake off what happened on the roller coaster. But I was keeping up on my phone, and it's like, holy crap! They started off, they jumped them, and made a bunch of threes early, and then they fell behind. And I saw one score. Kentucky was up maybe 4 points, something like that, and then I saw Arkansas had retaken the lead at the half, and now I'm like, okay, this is they signed up for 40.
And then Cal's doing the halftime interview, jogging to the locker room, like only as Cal could do, obviously, in that arena. And then Arkansas comes out again, and without Butler, Kentucky has no chance on defense because he's your best stopper, he's your best ball stopper, and they're not great defensively. And without him, it's a huge issue. So DJ Wagner was, and Cal said it, we needed to be fearless. And they played fearless, and I coached fearless. And it was really telling. Now, Kansas State and Arkansas are kind of similar. Both teams made a bunch of moves with getting guys. What do you do now?
Right, because the ceiling that they showed is
pretty damn good.
Agreed. But your resume is your resume. And at some point, you've got to string together wins.
Mm-hmm.
A win at Kentucky is, that's obviously a quad 1A.
Yep.
But what they're going to need to do moving forward is more of that.
Yeah. And
the good news in the league that they're in, it's good news, bad news, is that they'll have opportunity after opportunity because the SEC is just loaded. They're 13-8, Steve, as we speak.
2-7 conference.
Sounds about right.
2-6 maybe.
But okay, you go to Texas, then you play Alabama, LSU, then you go to A&M, you go to Auburn, you got Missouri, Texas, South Carolina, Vandy, Mississippi State. They got enough chances.
Oh, yeah.
But you're going to have to beat. I mean, Texas has had a rough year. LSU's had a rough year. You're going to need to beat like the Alabama, A&M, Auburn types. Mississippi State had a rough week last week. They got trucked at home after they lost an incredible game at home to Alabama. But we've talked about that league. I mean, it's just there's no breathers, or not many. There's a couple teams that are down this year, but it's so loaded at the top that you've got opportunity after opportunity. Yeah. And Arkansas took advantage of it. I was doing most of my consuming on the social media side afterwards, and Cal's a fascinating guy, man.
Yep.
A legitimately fascinating guy. Overused word. He fascinates me. Was great at a lot of things, and I say was because the word you hear, or the combination of words you hear about him is the suggestion that things have passed him by offensively.
Archaic.
That's the one. That's it. That's the singular word, archaic. That's a rough one to hear. And, they dominated an era when they had the ability, whether it was the people they had helping, Nike, you can say say it however you want to say it. Now everybody's in the deep end of the pool. Everyone's got cash to spend, and the game's just different. How it's played is different. But that's a proud dude who did plenty for that place.
Yeah.
And so scared's not a word I'd ever hear. Fearless makes sense. You can say whatever you want. You're walking in the fucking Lions Den on Saturday night. And you know it for a week. And then it's like the days got to be ticking down. Then the hours are ticking down. Then the minutes are ticking down. And then I just imagine taking a deep breath and going, let's go.
Yeah.
And his dudes played for him in a big, big way.
The three guys that came with him to Arkansas from Kentucky combined for over 50 points.
Is it Tiaro was part of that?
Tiaro, Big Z, and Wagner. It was... And then to see the stands empty out, the broadcast kept showing different sections, and it's like, wow. And then Cal jogs to the tunnel to do the interview as, again, only he can. But I'm like, Cal, there's nobody out there. You could, if they ever turned the PA on, you could have your way with it. But no, I think I give him this, like he knows how to deal with young. Like he was the guy that started going to these youngsters and building a team. Like there is he knows how to get through to the young guys. And I think now with so much ball that these kids have played, they just need to be told the right thing and put in the right direction. And for the most part, he's done that. Now, have they been bad at end games? Yeah, I guess a lot, but like there's still plenty of Elite Eights on there, which I still think is an awesome season. There's 4 Final Fours there. He gave you a championship. So it kind of got thrown in Kentucky's face because they were building this up. And that's why I asked you last week, like, what do you think it's going to be? And I was happy for Cal. I know I'm in the minority.
Well, I'm with you, and I'm never going to do the thing. And I understand Cats fans you guys are one of one as it relates to sort of the whole Big Blue Nation.
Yeah.
You're nuts in a good way. You're also nuts in a bad way. I'm never going to be the guy that's going to say what you should or shouldn't do. Do whatever the fuck you want. I just think from the outside looking in, I think it lacks perspective and context to boo a guy who gave you plenty. And there was a video feed when he was at Memphis of a door that you all were sitting at on your computers watching, waiting to see if he walked out the door to say he was coming to your place. And he gave you a ton. And so from the outside looking in, seemed like he came at a time when he was exactly what was needed and hung a banner in a place where that's what you've got to do. He did that. And so you guys can treat him however you want. And Saturday night, you got to live with what the other side of that was that his guys came in and played their ass off for him, played their best game of the year. And then they get to be the ones that celebrate. It's a wild deal. Game day went to Carolina Duke because Carolina Duke's Carolina Duke, not that one. And that game, you made an interesting comment about the talent disparity between Carolina and Duke.
Yeah.
And then I thought the Hansbrough line on the field of 68 was interesting about not just the talent, but just about the level of effort. And Carolina's in a situation where their level of effort better exceed who they're playing particularly when they're playing a Duke team where they just don't match up player for player. And I mean, this is a year for Carolina where you had to struggle to come back to beat a BC team that's not good, and it wasn't competitive Saturday night in Durham.
No, it wasn't, and I just didn't think Carolina had a plan. You knew Duke is a good defensive team that plays with great size, and they were going to switch everything, and there was no execution there. And, I don't want to say disinterested because it's a rivalry game, but it was like Duke just kept throwing punches. It's like, where's Carolina going to do here? They got guys, that have plenty of accolades, and I was blown away. I've never seen that in that game from Carolina. Now, you can make the argument in years past, it was the other way, where Duke wasn't as talented.
They've had moments.
That's go back and whatever you want, 20 years. They are expected to beat each other. And, you make a big deal of I think it's 51-50 now, and the point differential, that is different now with a blow-up. But, it's 40-15. No, 40-13. And it's just like, really? And I don't know. I to me, that was more about Carolina and just not having the goods or the wherewithal to be better. And I don't know. They're not going to get a chance to get a lot of good wins in that conference.
Well,
so they're going to have to win the ACC tournament.
That's exactly right. That's their path. They don't. That's it. And they don't deserve anything more than that just because the name says Carolina. Like, you're not. You have nothing at the moment to work with.
I will say, I think Shire and that staff did a really good job of building this team for knowing what they were getting in Cooper Flagg and how he was going to be the guy. But they got some guys around him that are able to help out where he needs help, whether it's banging around, setting screens, like Gillis, kid from Syracuse coming back. Those guys are how long they are, and just it feels like guys have their roles, and that's what's really, really cool in this day and age of moving around and who's going to be here and who's going to play with who. It's like, all right, we got our 5, and then our bench guys are going to come in, and if those, like Gillis made monster shots and played to the end of the game at Wake Forest. Yeah. So it's a really, really fun team to watch. I get it. They're in the ACC.
That's my question, is because the ACC is so down, it feels a little bit like a Gonzaga schedule. Gonzaga would always schedule uber aggressively out of conference. So in November and December, you're playing big-time teams. Duke did that.
Mm-hmm.
And then in this league, you just don't have the depth of talent. You don't have the true round robin that you used to have, which is one thing. But you also just don't have that many teams like an SEC has, like a Big 12 has, like a Big 10 has, that are really going to stress you and threaten you. And I just wonder how that potentially hurts them, because they're going to be a 1. And so you're going to play an 8-9, and the 8-9s are always the same. It's big teams from big conferences that were good, not great, but are capable of beating you. So you're going to see a team in the second game, and it's a television show, so it'll probably be a good name, right? Because you're going to want Duke versus someone good in that prime window for CBS Saturday night of the tournament. And I wonder how the ACC being down impacts them, or if it does. It might not, but that was always a thing I would ask Few. Like, how do you create urgency when your team hasn't had a down 2 at the under 4 of a game for 2 months? You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, that it's a good problem to have, that you're just so much better than your league, but it's just odd to see this continues to kind of be the trend in the ACC.
Yeah, there's plenty of motivation for Duke guys. They know that everybody hates them. They go out and play.
I'm not worried about being motivated. I'm just worried about playing someone.
As long as you stay motivated, you're going to be all right.
That's fair.
Maybe you're fresher than the other teams. Billis said the other day, winning the SEC tournament's going to be harder than winning the national title.
Well, you can't. You're going to win 6. You're going to win 6 games against an incredible gauntlet. You're not going to have a week off, or a game off, I should say.
Going back, if we could ever get an Arkansas-Kentucky game in Nashville.
Woo! Are you going to that, by the way?
No.
You threatened it.
Talks about going to the women's SEC tournament.
I know.
Little Greenville action.
If I didn't mention it, which I didn't, we referenced that Kansas needs to win a game. They had a 20-something point lead at Baylor, and Baylor came back and won. I watched the Baylor-BYU game last week.
Mm-hmm.
Couple of really talented freshmen for them.
Yeah.
Was it Wright and Edgecombe?
Yeah, and they didn't even have one guy sprained his ankle with 8 minutes left, and my God, that was at Duke for Baylor. Point guard.
Roach?
Yeah, Roach didn't play either.
I know.
So
they erased it. They erased a 21-point lead and won by double digits.
Yeah. I think it was like a 16-5 run and then a 17-0 run. Two different.
I love my mom for lots of reasons. High on the list is that she sends a text. She's like, I know you're having fun at Disney. She's like, I'm so sorry that you're not seeing this Baylor-Kansas game.
Wow.
The idea that my mom's locked into Big 12 hoops on a Saturday afternoon and just is thinking this is she's great for a million reasons. But that's just her in a nutshell. Just watching a little Big 12 hoop on a Saturday.
Who's she rooting for in the Super Bowl?
I think she's conflicted, as many Commanders fans are. Can you really root for Philly? But she is. My doctor that I saw. Oh my gosh. After I wrecked the moped, I've been going to check the foot, make sure everything's good. Shout out to Dr. Gabe, great guy. Huge Commanders fan. Showed me the videos he had taken his young son to Philadelphia. They're wearing Commanders gear head to toe. And the videos before they walked in the stadium of people just guttural, primal screaming sounded like death metal, cursing at them, screaming at them before the game even began. Like, you folks in Philly, you are a rare treat. And I get it. It was an NFC East rival, so there's added angst that was cooked into that. But that horde in green is heading down to New Orleans. I said the other day, I think Barkley, I just feel like he's the difference maker in this game. You're going down there to New Orleans.
When's the cutoff for you?
For what?
Coming down.
I work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
So you can come down Friday.
Like, I could. Again, is there someone that would love me to speak to your folks motivationally?
Talk roller coasters now?
Yeah.
Add that to the resume.
Fearless. I'm like Cal. Got to be fearless. I was fearful is what I was. But
I expect all Philly.
All?
Like over 70%.
Come on.
I'm serious.
Is that the word on the street?
I just get the feeling I've been at all these national championships when Bama made the run.
That's the comparison too. Is there not a fatigue, but are you just sort of at some point we've spent a lot of dough and the numbers you see, you said it, it's like 5,500 a night.
Yeah,
4-night minimum. I mean, at some point, if you're a Chiefs fan, you've been doing this for a decade.
Correct. I mean, they'll have their pocket of people, obviously, but like the extra first timers.
All Bird Gang?
All green.
Okay. And you're heading down Thursday?
Yeah. Dragos, Desi Vegas, Felix. I worry about the places that don't take reservations. Because
tell them who you are.
I don't know how to get in touch with anybody. You know how it is down there. It's, hey, I know this guy, and you got to get boots on the ground.
But you know people who know people. I have no concerns that you will be properly looked after and get yourself some.
I'd have a little bartending shift at Walk-Ons.
Do you?
Yeah, Thursday afternoon.
Fantastic.
Yep.
Do me a favor. It's hard because there's going to be lines out the door. But if you just a little shrimp etouffee at Mother's, just one cup of it for your boy. If it presents itself, I'd love just
imagine that line at Mother's.
No, I can't. But the etouffee is worth standing in line for, and a side of ham just because.
That's the problem. Is so many places that are there that are worth standing in line that you really got to narrow it down.
I understand.
But Dragos, Desi's, Walk-Ons, Felix's is just great because the guys at the bar are just shelling them out. But that's going to be a line.
What about your friends at Razoo?
I don't know if we'll make it down to Razoo's.
Okay.
Oh my God, I can't imagine what that line is.
Again, you just tell them you're good.
Got to get to the back at Razoo's.
All right.
Back.
I am going to do a late week podcast. I'm going to have the Philly side represented. I'm going to have the Kansas City side represented. We're going to talk to Nick Wright, who is a Chiefs fan from Fox Sports. I'm going to talk to Jason Kelsey, who, as people know, is Philly. Just going to get the little insight on that. Late week. Not sure what day we're coming out with that, but that'll be coming later. Steve's going to be down at Desi's, living large. We didn't get to this yet. It's on the card. And it's you could tie it to the Eagles because he coached there. And now he's going back to the NFL to be an OC. Chip leaves Ohio State to go to the Raiders. That means that Ryan Day has seen his defensive coordinator leave. Knowles goes to Penn State. His offensive coordinator, Chip, leave to go to the NFL. His O-line coach, where'd Fry go? Somewhere.
NFL.
Yeah, he went to an NFL team. I forget who. You had an interesting thought, and you're just thinking out loud.
Well, I'm really thinking about what Ohio State fans are thinking.
Well, what if Ryan Day just said,
deuces?
Oh, you guys wanted to get rid of me. Well, how about a title and I'll see y'all. It wouldn't happen. But you lose your OC and your DC, in your Ohio State, you can attract whomever. You could hand pick what you wanted. But I'd think you said it was the best story of the championship. Yeah. Ryan Day with his old coach, calling plays, winning. And I saw
after Bill O'Brien took the BC job.
Right.
Like in a pinch, you need the guy.
And he came.
He got it.
Chewing his pens, backpack on. He's the best. I saw he was on with, he was talking to Joel Klatt. I saw the clip where he talked about him and Chip sitting down and having a beer someday and talking about this. And I'm thinking, yeah, but now you got the dust settles and the glow fades. The glow will never go away. Banners are forever. I get it. But it's February and you look up, you're like, shit, I got to redo this whole thing. I just think it's an interesting time to just ponder what you're doing, what you want to do.
Yeah.
Go pick whoever you want. But they had it pretty well oiled this year. You get a bunch of seniors that stick around, get a guy in the portal, you got your old coach. Like, you got a great situation. You win a title, now you got to redo and reinvent. That's a lot. That's a big challenge. Ohio State's built to tackle challenges. They're well-resourced. Well-resourced. I'm going to close with this. 2 words, very important words. Everybody needs somebody in their life to call them on their bullshit. I said I have my wife who tormented me by putting me on a roller coaster and laughed at me the whole time. But I definitely earned points. Like, her love for me grew. Like, she just appreciated that I did it. You're there to help me out. I don't hear well. Years of this. Also, it's genetic. I got a genetic issue, and I've had headphones on, loud-ass music, radio. I don't hear well. Steve, like a year and a half ago, and my wife, the 2 people that he's like, could you get some hearing aids? I'm like, yeah, I probably should. I'm like, wait, what? And that's the joke if you can't hear. But he's right. So I went out and got some hearing aids so that the people in my life that have to deal with me don't have to say the same thing 5 times. And it sucks because you feel like you're really a peepaw if you have to get them. But I realize I wear seeing aids, and they're part of the friggin' logo we use. So I need hearing aids, too. What's the big deal? Look at me. I'm bald. I can't see. I can't hear. I'm damn near dead. But it would help the people in my life to get some hearing aids. So the big man and my wife, they help me out. Last week, I'm going into work. Why do I admit these things about myself? It's just, I'm going into work, and I have to go in early because it's TGL, and my wife's like, well, what are you going to do for dinner? I was like, I don't know. I guess I just won't eat. She's like, What are you talking about? I'm like, well, I can't really walk to get any food. There's nothing that close, and it's kind of far away. She got a Shake Shack, got a Chipotle, or whatever. I just, and she's just looking at me. She's like, get DoorDash. I was like, I don't know how that works. And she's just like, what are you talking about? Your whole phone has apps. Get the app. Get the here. And so, Steve, were you all talking together, or was it I told you this story? And what did you tell me I had to do?
Just try. That's it.
Just try. Remember earlier this year when Steve told me to stop texting him to ask when the plane took off? Just try. And it's easier for me to be helpless and wait for somebody to do something for me. Because I'm the famous guy or whatever, which I'm not, by the way, especially not with these people. I have no rank, nor should I. I have an email that tells me when the plane takes off. Just look at it. Just get the app and order some food, and they'll bring it to you. But for some reason, that app to me seemed confusing, like I would have a lot of trouble. And so Luka needs someone in his life to put on the video on defense and say, just try. And I've really been thinking about that. So the other day on the roller coaster, you know what I decided to do? Just try. Just try. I hated it, but damn it, I did it. I tried. And I felt you get to be in your late 50s. You're just looking for wins, baby. I tried. Got me an app. Haven't used it yet. Don't know that I know how. But you know what I'm going to do one of these days this week? I got to go up. I'll come early on Thursday because Terps have an early game going out to Columbus. I'm going to go in early, and I'm going to get on the app, and I'm going to order some food. I'm going to try.
Because you know what comes with that?
What's that?
Now you get to the real world.
Of what?
Then they screw up your order.
Why you gotta pop that bubble? So what?
I'm just warning you. Make sure you are meticulous
about
in your order. You are very meticulous with what you like in your burrito bowl.
Correct.
Just do it.
Make sure I spell it out.
Yeah, I mean, it's just buttons you got to tap.
Never go triple chicken. We covered that years ago.
Man.
Triple chicken is too much chicken. Don't remember that. All right, so I'm going to try. Well, you know what I'm going to tell them on my order? They're going to say,
you're not going to tell. You can't call them.
No, but
it's all
there's some
on the
special
phone.
Instructions I could just put. Just try. It's a very important thing for all of us.
There is.
Took me a long time to learn that, and I just needed the people in my life closest to me to help me understand. Life's not that hard if you just try. So with that in mind, hope everybody out there tries to have a great week. Steve, you'll be with me during these nights shows until Thursday when you leave?
Monday, Tuesday.
Monday, Tuesday. We get 2 days of the big man. We'll cook up some fun stuff like we do. Segments on the T and the V. And on Thursday, I'm gonna get on that app and get me some dinner. All right.
Big road game.
It is. That's gonna be a tough one. It's gonna be a tough one. That's okay.
Toughest game left on the schedule.
At Ohio State?
Yep.
Michigan State comes to town.
See what happened when they go on the road?
They did lose in Los Angeles.
They got to play there again.
It's true. UCLA
19-1 Terps last week to win the Big Ten. Only 3 games back.
Michigan State was undefeated in the league until the other day. So it's going to be tough to catch Sparty. All right.
3 games back, and you play them.
In our place.
Yeah. Xbox.
Thunderdome. Steve's excited.
Hold on. Before.
Yeah.
You wanted it great against Wisconsin. You said it was good.
Yeah.
Not great. So a message to all you Terp fans.
Yep.
There's another level, the big man says.
They know it.
Get there.
They know it.
All right.
Look, students were back. It was good. Against Wisconsin. Good, not great.
All right.
I said right here last week, I said there's nights the building won't let you lose. The building helped. But coming up last stretch here, Steve might have had a nibble at 19-1. There's a level. There are layers and levels to this Got to up the ante. We need hostility. Got to think Philly fans. Got to think thug life tattooed across your chest. The real ones know. Don't throw shit at people. All right? But hostility, controlled aggression, fill the seats. It's not a lot to ask, especially if you're in college. You got to enjoy the ride. You're only there for 4 years. Or if you're me, 6.
Just try.
Just try.